Ariel brand traces back to 1870, established by James Starley and William Hillman. They were the first in Britain to manufacture wire-spoke wheels under patent, and wire-spoked wheels, they are a beautiful thing. This invention led to the creation of a lighter version of the penny farthing bicycle, aptly named Ariel, symbolizing the air's spirit. This name was also given to their factory, where these bicycles and sewing machines were produced. In 1885, a significant advancement was made by James Starley's nephew, John Kemp Starley, who invented the Rover safety bicycle. This bicycle featured wheels of similar size and a chain drive to the rear wheel, a design that has continued in modern bicycles. Ariel then combined forces with Westwood Manufacturing in 1896 and ventured into powered vehicles, creating a motorized tricycle in 1898 equipped with a 2.25 horsepower de Dion engine. After this, Hillman departed to establish Premier Motorcycles. Ariel expanded its production to include more tricycles and motorized quadricycles by 1901, marking its entry into the automobile industry. In 1902, Ariel launched its first motorcycle featuring a carry engine. That year, Charles Sangster's Components Limited acquired Ariel. Sangster introduced the Arielette, a 3-speed, 2-stroke motorcycle, but ceased production at the start of World War I. Post-war, Sangster's son Jack managed Ariel, introducing successful models with white and poppy engines, expanding the range up to 992 cc's. From 1926, under new designer Val Page, Ariel developed the iconic black Ariels from 1926 to 1930, which were foundational for all future Ariel 4-strokes until 1959, except the mid-1950s LH Colt. This era also introduced the Ariel horse logo and the slogan, "The Modern Motorcycle." During the First World War, Ariel had produced some motorcycles for the War Department, but these were mostly used for dispatch riders and home front services. And also, before the Second World War, Ariel had to turn their factory manufacture over for the war effort. This included manufacturing motorcycles for the war effort. These motorcycles were based on the Scottish 6-day trials winning version of the Red Hunter and were called for one of a more inspirational name, the WNG 350. One of the features was a higher ground clearance, and they were quite comfortable to sleep on after a hard day in battle, as these guys can attest. While Ariel had some success in the early days of motorcycle racing. For Ariel, it wasn't just about speed, it was their revolutionary design that allowed riders to tackle the toughest terrains with ease. The Ariel HT5, in particular, became a legend in trials, a testament to the brand's commitment to excellence. Let's talk about what made these bikes special. Ariel's trials bikes were engineered for precision and control. The lightweight frame, robust suspension, and powerful engines were harmoniously integrated to conquer challenging terrains. These bikes weren't just machines. There is more to it than that. They had a look and feel to them that gave the rider confidence and satisfaction. Ariel was truly a modern motorcycle of its time. Now stepping back in time a bit, back in 1905, after having won the elimination race at the Isle of Man and qualifying to represent Great Britain in the International Motorcycle Cup races, Ariel, who had not done well in the International Cup events, embarked on a series of new models between 1906 and 1913. Each model was an improvement on the previous. The 1913 model allowed Ariel a breakthrough in trials competition by winning the team prize in both the English and Scottish six-day trials. This, plus other wins in various events over the next couple of years, helped improve sales of their bikes, but then the First World War halted production. Once the war was over, Ariel accelerated its performances in trial events, winning the Auto Cycle Union 6 Days trial in the 1920s and the Scottish 6-day trials and international 6-day trials events of the 1930s. Coming out of World War II, Ariel continued to pursue these trials events rather than road racing. Americans, Canadians, and Australians and New Zealanders had seen while serving how well the British bikes had handled difficult off-road conditions. This resulted in an increase of sales to those countries and the biggest increase to North America. Motorcyclists could see these bikes were better equipped for trials and scrambles than the heavier Harleys and Indians. And these events became more popular in North America. This led Ariel to develop a specialty-built off-road bike, the VCH, this bike sporting an all-alloy engine, and was introduced in 1949. The success of Ariel in trials can't be mentioned without talking about a guy that was born in Belfast, Northern Ireland in 1933, Sammy Miller. Sammy got into bike riding from the age of 16 and had a lot of practice honing his skills with his friends on various wastelands and derelict buildings during the late 40s and early 50s. It was not until 1953 that he entered his first road race and also his first trials event, the Scottish 6-Day Trials. He entered this trials event on a bike he had built himself from various parts from various motorcycles, and by 1957, he had impressed enough of the right people to sign a deal to ride for Ariel. Upon joining Ariel, Sammy had been allocated the motorcycle carrying the registration mark Go V132, which had started out as a factory-retained rigid trials machine in 1949. Ariel's kept 3 bikes with registration numbers Gov 130, 131, and 132 for their works trials team. Miller retained the registration mark Gov 132 until 1964, along with his second Ariel 786 Gon that had been allocated to him as well for backup. His first motorcycle wins had come in Ireland in 1953, winning both the 250cc sand racing and scrambles championships and following up wins in these events in 1954. Miller had then gone on to win most of the motorcycle championship events in 1956, which is the year he signed with Ariel. In 1961, while competing in a scrambles event, he was injured in a crash with another competitor and ended up with a broken pelvis, shoulder, and arm, given that he had just signed with Ariel to win trials events. He decided in 1962 to quit racing and just specialize in trials events. Sammy spent a good deal of his time with Ariel making modifications to his HT5 motorcycle to make the bike lighter and more balanced and able to deal with the various obstacles encountered on a trials run, such as loose rocks, creek beds, loose shale and sand traps, etc. These improvements enabled him to go on to win 5 Scottish 6-Day Trials Championships, 7 Scott Trial Championships, and he was the ACU British Trial Champion 11 times plus 2 times European Trials Champion. Some of these events' wins, just mentioned, were on Spanish motorcycle company Bultaco Bikes, who Sammy Miller had partnered with at the end of 1964 to develop a better trials motorcycle, and he continued to improve the performance of trials bikes with stunning results. And his time in the history of trials riding revolutionized the sport. On the business front, Charles Sangster, whose company Components Limited had bought Ariel in 1902, had, in 1918, handed over the management of Ariel to his son Jack Sangster. During the period between 1910 and 1932, Components Limited had gone through a couple of periods of severe financial difficulty. In 1932, Components Limited went bankrupt, and Jack Sangster took the opportunity to buy Ariel at a bargain price. The company was renamed Ariel Motors JS Limited and resumed production while they moved into a new factory in Bowenbrook, Birmingham. The first new model, the Ariel Square 4 and then the Red Hunter, enabled them to, in 1936, purchase Triumph, and it became Triumph Engineering Company Limited. This company was directed by ex-Ariel employees, including chief designer Edward Turner, who designed the 500cc 5T Triumph Speed Twin, released in September 1937. In 1951, Jack Sangster sold Ariel and Triumph to the Birmingham Small Arms Company Group BSA and joined their board. Ariel began making the 500cc KH model and the 650cc Huntmaster, which had an engine based on the BSA A10 parallel twin. Reliable and capable of 100 miles per hour, the Huntmaster proved popular with sidecar enthusiasts. Then, in 1956, Sangster was voted in as the new chairman. Sangster promptly made Edward Turner head of the automotive division, which then included Ariel, Triumph, and BSA Motorcycles, as well as Daimler and Carbades, the manufacturer of London taxicabs. By the start of the 1960s, people, such as, for example, Sammy Miller, could see things were not heading in a good direction for the Ariel name, and by 1967, Ariel ceased production. Ariel had a good run, and to this day there are thousands of Ariel enthusiasts and Ariel clubs in various countries all over the world, having left a lasting legacy for future generations of motorcycle enthusiasts. Thanks for watching, and please hit the subscribe button and comment if you wish.